Missouri, the fog has officially rolled in. I cannot believe how excited I am about this. Brandon, too. Super fog just touched down in the Show Me State, and it's bringing the heat. All in one disposable Hefes, now in 1 and 2 gram. So you can choose your adventure your way. Smoother hits, bigger flavor, less hassle. And we're not done. This June, Fatty's pre-rolls are landing statewide. So mark it down. Find Super Fog at the Green Lights in Southeast Missouri, the Heights in Maryland Heights, all Proppers, and a bunch more other dispensaries coming soon across Missouri. The fog is here. Go get it. Welcome to Greenway Audio Magazine. I am Tim. Brandon is not with me today because I wanted to do this one on my own. This one I'm excited for. MC Bravado out of Baltimore. Dude, thank
Tim,
you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here, man. This is dope.
Yeah, dude. Like, we've crossed paths a few times, and I've just been intrigued by your career and your path to where you are now. That's probably one of the first questions people ask you, but I did want to get into that right away. Former high school English teacher.
Yeah. It was it was a very circuitous way. If we're gonna dive into the SAT words, we'll use one. But it was it went from like I'm gonna be a literature major in college because I want to keep writing. Like high school, I was like passionate about hip hop and like sports writing. And then I didn't have a really specific track getting into undergrad. So I was like, well, if I do a lot of reading and writing, I'm like immersing in craft, and that was like my whole logic for being a literature major was to stay immersed in like the written word. And then after college, I did some dumb stuff just with like drinking and driving and made some mistakes. And like I was kind of at this fork in the road, and my dad, gave me the talk. He's like, you either stay around here, because I'm from New York originally. He's like, you either stay around here and kind of like do the towny thing or do whatever it is you're going to end up doing, or like figure it out. And I wound up going to grad school to teach, and then taught professionally, for 7 years or so. And
Jeez.
yeah, dude. And then Warped Tour came around, and that was like the launch pad. And I've been full time for about 8 years with the music. So it's been a wild ride for sure. And we're still out there.
That's amazing. I mean, I glossed right over it. Rapper and entrepreneur, former teacher. So, I mean, the road from that, it's interesting. I have a buddy who is in cannabis right now, and he taught English in high school. And I constantly kind of like ask him a few times, like, do you run into students? Do students still hit you up? Like how is that relationship? Because you did kind of go from, I don't know if you ever had, lessons, like, hey guys, don't do drugs, stay away from cannabis or anything like that. But now to be, in music that kind of goes hand in hand with cannabis, what was that transition like? Has there been any uncomfortable situations? Has there been none? Tell me about it.
So that is actually a really great question. I found like so most of the trouble I got into by the time I was 22. At the age of 19, I got my first DWI, and when I was 22, I got my second one, and that was before like grad school. That was before teaching. So I was blessed in a way to like get a lot of that out of the way when I was younger. And when I started teaching, and people would go to happy hours and things, I didn't go. And part of it is because I would clock out and I had another job to do because I'm burning the candle at both ends. But the other part of it is like alcohol means different things for different people. And for me, unfortunately, at many points in my life, it's been like very destructive. And my dad always told me from when I was a kid, like the way one person handles their alcohol, whether it's how their body handles it or how their mind and behavior handles it's not a one size fits all thing. So he had always kind of said he didn't think it was good for me. And I remember getting kind of like, I guess, ostracized to a degree for like not partaking in some of these drinking events outside. And people, kind of labeled me as antisocial, and I was just doing my other thing. And I'm just like, I'm not going to drink and drive somewhere at this point in my life. And I felt like as a cannabis user, because I would tell coworkers that I like used cannabis or whatever, and sometimes I feel like there was a little bit of a judgment. But here I am like on the other side of the coin being like, well, this doesn't make me like, want to drive my car when I can't handle it. This makes me want to like chill out and have some Fritos and watch what I want to watch
Right.
on TV. And
Right.
it's so much, for me, it's less destructive. So with kids, like I never took a like, you shouldn't do that stance with cannabis. As much as or really preached about much about that kind of thing in general. But later in life, like if I come across a student and they'll be like, "Oh, I always knew you smoked," or "I always knew you lit up," and I'm like, this is true. And it for them, as long as they're using it in the same kind of way where it's not getting in the way of their day-to-day life, you know what I mean? Like, don't show up to work like totally like glazed over type shit. But like if after you leave, you're gonna like smoke and watch TV or hang out with some buddies and smoke, like I just haven't seen the harm in that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Really, really ever. Like if they were showing up to school that way or trying to do it, I mean, kids would try to smoke in the hallways and stuff. Like it'd be crazy. But as long as it's like not getting, I guess my message has always been if it's not getting in the way of your day to day and you utilize it in the right time in the right space, that it's okay.
What it is about English and literature, because through my days in school, those were the teachers that everybody was like, yeah, I think they partake. I wonder what that is.
And history, right? Like the
And
English and the
history.
history teachers. Yeah. And
Yeah,
that's
dude.
entirely true. I don't know why either, man.
That's interesting. Yeah.
That should be a cannabis study among high school teachers, like percentages of teachers who smoke. And I bet you like, yeah, English would be number one and history would be number two, most likely.
Yeah. I wonder what
It is
that
funny.
is. Yeah. So, I mean, I got to say, as being a rapper, and then, so do you have a master's in English?
Yeah.
Ch- I
Yeah.
mean, what a match made in heaven, dude. you know?
It is not bad, man. Because I always like I grew up in a group. We went by the Cypher Junkies, and everybody was like, like any other group, we were really competitive in our own way, but we also had a lot of chemistry and like we were rapping constantly and I was always looking for ways to like make sure I was near the top of that equation and trying to keep up with those guys. And I was like, when I go to college, if I'm constantly like reading and writing, that's only going to make me better, as an artist. And I encourage everybody who's in the art, like a musician, especially any lyricist. I'm like, you got to be reading at all
Yeah.
times. You should be reading, like, and you should be. It's easy to get into our own bubbles. You need to be reading. You need to be listening to other people talk and listening to their music and meeting new people and experiencing life because that is where your inspiration is going to come from. Like
Yeah.
you can only create in your bubble for so long before it gets stagnant. So you got to like keep an eye. And reading is just, I don't know, it's odd because it's like such an escape, but it's like intellectually it's stimulating you at the same time. And it's like work, but it doesn't feel like it. Like I love to read. Reading
Yeah.
is amazing. Mm,
That is a great description. Seriously.
Thank
It's
you.
like work, but
Thank
it's
you.
not. Like I do the same. I'm reading it and I'm like, I should be getting credit for this. But then I'm like, no, this is this is helping me. you know.
Yeah, this is for me at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly. Otherwise I'm using the same 5 words. That's awesome. That's amazing. That stuff, and then new words pop in. Oh yeah, okay. I'm gonna work that into moving forward.
That's a
So
good feeling, yeah, when you're
yeah.
thinking about that word and then the opportunity arises in the conversation and
Yes.
you're just like, "Sick, I just
You're just
floated that right
holding
now."
it. You're just holding it in your back pocket. And you're like, ooh, I'm gonna use amalgamation tomorrow. I just feel it. And then boom. Yeah, dude, that's great. So, this is kind of a cliche question, but like, was there a moment when you were teaching where you were like, okay, I want to I want to move, my career this way. I want to take this other path. Or was it kind of like was teaching part of the journey into where you are now?
Teaching was definitely part of the journey, and I really, like, love to teach, but I think teaching in Baltimore City, which is where I spent most of my time teaching, And I absolutely love Baltimore. I especially love the kids. A lot of people thought, oh man, like I'd tell friends where I was and the schools I was at and the neighborhoods I was in, and they'd be like, oh, these, kids must be giving you a hard time. And I'm like, not really. Like, what gives me a hard time is like the admin and the policy. And I felt like we prioritize treating kids as individual learners, which we should, but with staff, they had this like one size fits all metric. And I feel like once they caught my second to last year teaching, I did an album release party. And like, it's weird how actually the whole genesis of all of this, prior to the album release party, word started to get out. Somebody found me. I forgot. Like, it
Hmm.
always happens. So I was like, they asked me if I could perform at this like concert that was kind of for the kids and kind of for the community. So I was like, sure. Like, they want to see me in my element. I'll go up there and do it. So I did. And the news was there. And I ended up having a good relationship and they were with the news, and they were like, this is Fox 45, I think, this time. And they were like, can we do another interview with you more in your world? And I was like, all right, well, I have an album coming out. So I do that. Now I'm on the news like a second time. And as the cat is out of the bag, certain colleagues, like in any world, like I know this is true of the corporate world too, like when they know you have another thing, they start to kind of treat you differently and
Hmm.
like for better or worse. So like if you're absent on that Monday, oh, he must be in Texas doing his rap thing, and it becomes like this thing. And when I felt like they started to treat me in that way where it was like not giving me any room, even though I was one of their better and more well-liked teachers, and kind of wasting my time with, oh, we're going to call this new acronym, but it didn't work 5 years ago. And here it is again. And like, you're, kind of pissing on me and telling me it's raining type of stuff. I was like,
Hmm.
I'm over this. Like,
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
can't, I can't waste time. Like, time is everything to me. So, like, once I felt like I had to spend a bunch of extra time doing that stuff the city was passing down from on high, you know what I mean, in my day to day, and it was taking me away from other things. I was like, I love to work with kids, but so much of teaching is not working with kids. It's also working with the adults. And I didn't so much love working with the adults the last 2 years. So like once Warp Tour offer came in, like later that year, I was like, I think this is time for me to, time for me to jump. I never felt like I was going to feel comfortable, and you never really do for anybody watching this. Like it never feels like this optimal time, but I did it, and 8 years later, we're surviving and we're still doing it. So I'm proud of that.
Talk about the Warp Tour opportunity, like what that was. I mean, you're changing worlds, really. I mean, you're going from the classroom to on stage, and it's a huge transition. And I'm assuming there were doubts, or was there no doubts? Were you up there going, "No, this is what I was supposed to do"?
There is a lot of doubt. That was a really hard summer. So, right, this for so many reasons, that whole journey, but it really just fortified the choice. So, like, right before I leave, one of my best friends and my old college roommate like died suddenly, right? And this was like a week before I'm supposed to go. So then it's like now we have like a funeral and things. So everybody, my Warped Tour experience was kind of different because um I worked with this company called Cool Suppliers, and they sell these like vegan icy push-up things that like sell like hotcakes on Warped Tour because everybody's hot and like sardined in front of the stages, right? So, um, this guy basically gave me the opportunity where if I would sell for him during the day, he could put me on a stage every single day. And he gave me these cards where I could write my name down, like my set time, and it had all my socials. So like everybody I sold in IC2, I was like handing this card and being like, you probably don't want to miss Good Charlotte, but I'm on at 2:30 over here,
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah.
so so like everybody like back to the friend thing. Sorry, I kind of missed that part, but like everybody else like rode out from Jersey essentially to California, which is where our first date was. And they all kind of had this bonding time. So I get out there, they're all fucking stoked because they're on Warp Tour.
Yeah.
I'm grieving.
Yeah.
So I'm like I'm already a bit of like Virgo loner
Yeah.
writer looking out the window type.
Sure.
So like couple that with grief, and these people think I'm kind of just not a good time initially, and I wasn't. So Like, I'm surviving the elements and, like, dude, because it's hot as fuck. Like, I got heat exhaustion in Vegas because we're outside all day, and I'm, like, flipping these ices in a fanny pack, like,
Oh, dude.
sweating profusely, doing my set, then going back to selling the ices, and, like, that's the way I'm making money too because I didn't have summer pay even though I thought I had signed up for it, as a teacher, so I'm just out there in
Oh,
the wind.
shoot.
I'm out there in the wind and and then, dude, right as I'm starting to get comfortable, at least a smidge, one of my best friends from home dies as well.
Gosh.
Like, so we were talking like a couple weeks apart, and I'll never forget this because like we were in Arizona and everybody was like doing this pool party thing. And I went, got a hotel and just like stayed by myself for the night and got all of the good cries in and was kind of like, you're going to go back tomorrow and like try to be present and be friendly with these people. And we were on our way further out west and I was still on the ropes and thinking about just going home and saying like,
Yeah.
fuck it. But
Right.
a tire on the RV like blows out and this dude, Roger, was like, we're going to be friends, regardless of like how hard you try to not be friends with everyone. We're going to be friends. So, like, we're on this RV on the side of the road, like playing Mario Kart. And then it was like, let's go get some fireworks and like fuck around and like, let's go get some burgers or whatever. And I'm like, drink some beers. I'm like, all right, like we kind of have a day off. Let's do it. And at that point, I got really close with Roger over time and like everybody else kind of warmed up and, it kept me there. And it was very humbling to be out there like selling the ices and to not be who people were there to see. Like they'd be there to see insert big band, and I'm kind of out there having to pull in a crowd of strangers on a tour that
Mm.
isn't really hip hop as their top genre. So it's not even rap fans to boot. So all these like wizard talents you think you have, people can't even really appreciate. And it comes back down to like the meat and potatoes of connecting with people
Mm-hmm.
as a performer. They don't necessarily care about my party tricks as a rapper or like my punch. Like, do they like me? Like, can
Right.
I draw them in?
Mm-hmm.
And some days the crowd would be bigger than others. Sometimes people would leave halfway through to go see whoever they were there to see. And I had to learn to not internalize that and it just always put my best foot forward. And man, when I came back and then was rapping to like people there to see hip hop, and in a full room opening for insert bigger hip hop artist, that was like taking the training wheels, like, you know what I mean? Like, because it was so much easier at that point. Because I had experienced people not there for hip hop, not there for me,
Yeah.
and having to entertain them. So if I can entertain them, I can entertain anybody, and that's really was my big takeaway from the experience.
That's awesome. Do
That was a
you
lot, I know, but that I did a
know?
song about it. It's called Warped Tour Diary. It's pretty, and there's a video. You might dig it, but it
Yeah.
talks about all of it. But that was a probably the most influential summer of my life. I would say, man, that was a big summer.
Do you happen to sometimes I go through this where I feel like if I'm in a group of maybe like 8 people, we're all kind of, in a circle talking, whatever. I get like uncomfortable. I get this isn't, I need to step away. But and I never reached anywhere where you are, but I sang in metal bands. Music is a huge part of my life.
Hmm.
When I was on stage, I felt more comfortable than being in a conversation with like 3 people. Yeah, I don't know what it was, but that's where I felt like at home. Do you have something similar?
1000%.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
It's super freaking weird, and people don't understand it, and they'll be
Yeah,
like, "Oh, you don't want to go to like insert, social gathering, like but you're around
yeah,
people for a living. That's like different, dude. It's a different.
totally.
That's funny you said that because I am the exact same way, and most people, unless they experience it, just don't get it.
Yeah, yeah. It's
It's
so
weird.
true. Yeah, it is very
It's
weird.
Did you find with that kind of an extension of that? Did you find playing for me playing a small room sometimes feels more difficult than playing the huge room
Yes,
because you could see everyone's faces and
yes,
reactions and
yes.
you're hyper analytical, and whereas in a
Big
big
time.
room, it's just like you're talking to the back of the room essentially. It's
Yeah,
different.
absolutely. Yeah.
That's weird too.
I also found, and one more question on this because I also found promoting my stuff that I was doing was harder than promoting somebody else's stuff. So if I felt it very difficult to sell what I was doing because I was very sensitive and I felt like if somebody was like, I'd be like, oh yeah, you don't need to go, dude. I'm sure you got work. You don't need to come. It's all good, dude. But if I was like talking, hey, you got to go see MC Bravado. And they're like, I got to work. Oh, dude, you should call into work because this shit is so good. You got to go see it. But I would not do that for my stuff. It was something very, it just felt very foreign talking about yourself and what you're doing. It took me a long time to figure that out. I still really haven't, but it was very uncomfortable. I was curious if you had something like that as well.
I do, and I think that's because you're a humble dude, and like I large despite my name, I am as well. My
I
name
know.
is really like was like is armor more or less for me when I
Sure.
was
Yeah.
younger. Um, but no, I feel the exact same way, and I've gotten a bit more comfortable with it. I do remember like seeing this. It's an interesting thing because you're thinking about other people and you don't want to be all the way showy even when you have good things going on. But I did find like part of it for me was this fear that people would behind my back be like, oh, here he is selling like XYZ. But anyone who says that with time, I'm like, these are miserable people projecting. Like you're telling it's totally benign to tell someone you know, like, about something you love that you're doing and that you want them to be there. And I add the context like, "Hey, this is kind of when I get to be social at this point." You know what I mean? Like, with the life I've chosen, and as selfish as that can sound, like, it's the truth. Like, short of it being a big event, I'm pretty much in the house or doing what I have to do, whereas at a show, I tend to hang out with people after and, like, it turns into a thing. But I've like stopped taking, I guess, my fears of other people's opinions into account when I've been doing it. It still doesn't feel all the way natural, but it feels better. It feels better than it did.
Yeah. Good. It comes with age too, dude.
It does. It does. You find yourself just letting it fly way
I
more. I
tell you,
love that.
dude, the grayer this thing gets, man, the less fucks you give. Like I've learned that. I seriously, dude. It's a great feeling. I wish I had this earlier. Um,
Right? Don't you wish that? Yeah, like 20
oh,
in your early 20s, you had the same.
yeah, I got an 18-year-old son and I'm like, dude, I'm telling you right now that this doesn't matter. Please.
Right.
I'm telling you. This isn't a big deal. But yeah, but you got to go through it. You got to learn it yourself. So yeah, so okay, so back to the music. I mean, I'm a big fan. I
Thank you, man.
dude, all this morning I was just jamming it in the gym, just pulling lines out like, oh, that's so good. I mean, I'll just fanboy out really quick, but ADM in Baltimore might be my favorite, but um I love, and I can't remember what song it is, but you say I'm in love with the process. And that I feel that hit me, dude. I love the process. I love start to finish. I love creating, coming up with an idea, creating it, feeding it and handing it off. Like that is my favorite thing in life, honestly, is that part. And that's the process. And like when you're listening to a song and somebody says something that you're like, "Oh, dude, that's me." Or like, "Holy crap." That's how I felt. And so I love that if you want to get into that at all, I love that line.
Thank you, man. Yeah, that was the opening track on The Living Game, which is probably pound for pound still my best album. And it was made when I was jumping into music full time. Like we made
Mhm.
that year coming off of Warped Tour, and it was all just everything I was feeling. And because people always want to talk to you about how hard this road is, which it is literally one of the hardest things you can choose to do, right? But it But if you don't love the journey, you got to find something else to do because there isn't yes, people get lucky and they get viral moments and things, but those tend to be fickle and don't have staying power. Like the only way to stay in this thing is to really brick by brick it. And
Hmm.
as much as there are days where I'm like, this is so fucking tedious, in some respects, like there are other aspects of it that I really do fucking love, and I will
Hmm.
convince myself that I love the other stuff because at the end of the day, the other stuff and that grunt work is necessary to realizing your vision. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Most of us
Right.
yesterday, I spent a couple hours doing like I'm not just making like I have a new single I'm about to submit to my distributor and it's like, yeah, like I didn't just write and record the song. Like I'm sitting there through the mix and the master with like nailing these certain areas and giving feedback and redoing this. And then like, so being a part of that process and the production process. And then I'm making the art a lot of the times myself. And I'm doing this pitch to the distributor that they then hand off to Apple. The song you were mentioning, the I put out it's called The Living Game Transplants, and it's basically like this remixed version of the album. And I put that out a couple months ago. And the song you mentioned, it wound up on an Apple Music playlist. And that's because we have a good pitch. The art looks good. The record is good. It's the right distributor at the moment. And like people don't realize how much has to come together, like just for that. So if you don't love the process, you're going to be miserable and you're not going to build something that's going to last if you're in entertainment. Like it just
Right.
has to be a thing.
And
Yeah.
a lot of what people don't understand is a check doesn't come with that stuff. That is
That part.
that is the hard work. That is the like, hey, I'm dedicated to this. You have no idea. It's almost like it's like a web developer, like it- there's so much that goes into the back end, and
Yeah.
then it's like here's the website and they're like, "Oh yeah, it looks cool." But they have no idea that it took like 200 hours to put together, like that kind of stuff. It's very it's difficult, but boy, you got to love it to keep going.
You do, man. I mean, and I still have like my moments where
Oh
I
yeah.
have to take a deep breath and like figure it out. I mean, when I did Belief, I put it on my wrist as well. And I like some days when I'm like really dragging, I know it sounds ridiculous, but like just having that written
Yep.
right here,
Yep.
it brings me back in a way. And I also like doing the beats not bullets type work. Like I love that because I get to see their enthusiasm
Hmm.
for the process. And it reminds me of why I got into this, that like, oh, I got to be at the studio, like however many, like you 16-year-old me would have fucking killed to be at the studio as often
Yeah.
as I'm at the studio. So it's
Sure.
like it brings you back, seeing the enthusiasm of others with how cool that thing actually is brings you back to like, I'm very lucky to be doing this regardless of how hard it is. I'm lucky to be here.
Open new doors to market movement at MJ Unpacked, coming to Kansas City, Missouri, October 14th and 15th. Uncover opportunities that don't exist in day-to-day markets, explore expert-led conference sessions, and build meaningful connections in the exhibit hall. And for the first time, celebrate Missouri's top brands at the MJU MoCan Cup Awards. Register now and get your pass for as little as $49 with early bird pricing. Plus, save an additional 20% with code Greenway20. Visit mjunpacked.com and we'll see you in Kansas City.
I don't want to gloss over the fact that, you've worked with Scarface and Jizza and all these amazing artists and,
Big news from
all
Kind
of this,
Goods.
all the
Kind
accolades that
Goods
you've
Afton is
had so
officially
far.
open, giving St. Louis
But I
another
do really want to
convenient
get
way
into
to
Beats Not
experience
Bullets.
Kind Goods.
I mean,
Whether you're looking for
you won a
flower,
Community
vapes,
Service
edibles,
Award at
concentrates,
South by
or
Southwest.
pre-rolls, you'll find
Tell
a
us
great
about
selection and something for
Beats Not
everyone.
Bullets. Like,
Not sure where to start?
how did that come
The
about?
friendly, knowledgeable
I mean,
bud
the giving
tenders at
back is
Kind
just
Goods can help you find
phenomenal.
what's right for you. It's the same
I
great
appreciate
experience
you.
you've come to
I
expect
came
from
back
Kind
from
Goods.
tour
Now in Afton,
and
locally owned
I
and
had
operated,
this
Kind Goods is proud to be be
I had
part of
left
the
my
St.
9 to
Louis
5, but I
community.
had to
7
build like
locations,
a
one
bridge
kind
of
goods.
Are
sorts
you ready to
because I
find your
needed
fire? New
some
Daybreak
other
Fortifiers
income.
infused
And
pre-rolls are here. Made with
somebody
whole
said
flour,
that this
never
program was
shake,
at the school that
Fortifiers
I had
take the
actually just
classic
left. I
pre-roll
left
to
the
the
school.
next
Wow.
level. With two
Yeah, so I
options
was
to
like,
choose
this
from, you
seems
can go with high terpenes for
serendipitous,
bold
right?
flavor
Like,
or high
so
potency
I
for a
wind up
stronger
being brought
kick.
in as an
Because
instructor,
sometimes you want
and
more
then
than
I
a
really
standard
enjoyed that.
pre-roll. Find your
And
fire with
things were
Daybreak
kind of
Fortifiers. Available
starting to take
now
off a bit
at
more
Kind Goods.
musically, and I was doing well in the program. So to like meet that evolution head on, my role switched to more of a program coordinator. So I could do this admin stuff to set us up at more schools and more districts in different places, South by, things like that. But I didn't necessarily have to be on location. You know what I mean? If I could get another instructor vetted, hired to do it, that allowed me to not only like be promoted in the organization, but to keep my flexibility and autonomy that I needed on the music side to be wherever I had to be. So the role kind of evolved that way. And that too is a lot of like people see it's always funny to
Yeah.
me. People know admin for any contract with any work. They know admin is like part of it. And I always think people look at it like sideways of like, oh, well, he's not here for the it's like, do you know how many hours I spent like
Yeah.
putting the proposals together
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
talking to like setting up this call and then the next call and then the call after that and then redoing the paperwork and getting the right people in there and like getting media involved and booking this, like all the stuff, like people just think it magically like
Right.
is there. And that's a whole other thing. But I tend to be pretty good at that work. I tend to be good at kind of just banging it out. And that's another thing though, where none of us who are doing that work are in it for the money, number one. But number two, like in the nonprofit world, anyone who's in it, like, or even adjacent to it knows that you can do the work. You could do, 6 months of work or 90 days of work and not get paid till well after that. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
everybody's got to touch the money first.
Yeah.
So that is more of the like, and that's something that I think does make this world hard is people are used to working for X amount of time
Yes.
and getting X. And there's just none of that with what I do. It's just not how it works. None of it is linear. It just kind of you got to keep planting seeds. And for me, I found they tend to grow when I need them to. As long as I keep planting, I'm
Yeah.
okay.
Well,
You know?
I mean, going from musician and then stepping into the entrepreneurial world, it's the same. It's the same
Yeah.
stuff. You're going through every aspect, all the back end stuff, just and then waiting for a check. It's the same shit. But when you love what you do, it's a little easier to swallow. You know, um, but we all need cash. That's the thing, and we got to do what we got to do to keep doing our craft, right? I mean, that's the whole thing.
That's the hard part at
It is.
times is like, because there's the human element to this work, whether it's with like even Third Thursdays has become this place where I have been able to propel certain people in the scene and give a lot of opportunities to alumni and to the kids from Beats Not Bullets and chances to shine and everything. But like with that comes real relationships.
Yeah.
And as I'm sure you could recognize, like managing those relationships and the human element and giving people a piece of yourself, you know, even with the best intentions after a while can add a weight, you know what I mean? Because you have all of these things to do that aren't necessarily immediate financials coming back to you, and you want to preserve relationships and you want to help people, but sometimes you can't help people when you're bailing the water out of your own boat and your own
Exactly.
raft, but they see you as this beacon of help and opportunity, and it's like, dude, I'm not Jay-Z yet. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I'm trying, but
Yeah.
like, so I have had those moments too, one or two occasions where things have like, I tend to fix things, but where things have temporarily soured and I've had to like kind of fuck people up with some truth and like sit them down and be like, look, respectfully, I've put so much on your plate. You have not really like, I appreciate your presence, but this is not reciprocal at the moment. You need to give me some fucking room to figure this
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
And I don't have to tell you the details of this operation, but since you must know,
Yeah.
this is why this happened. This is why that happened. Do we have enough? And
Yes.
they're like, oh,
Mhm.
like my
Yeah.
bad. And I'm like, yes, don't do it again. We'll be
Mhm.
fine. This is good. You know, like I'll book you again in a month. But like,
Yeah.
it's
There's a
I'm
lot more
not your
going on.
manager. You know, I'm not your like I want to help artists too, but sometimes they're like, oh, I need a manager. I'm like, no, you need to study your industry and develop a work ethic
Yes.
beyond showing up at the studio. You don't need to manage. You have nothing to manage.
Yeah. Time management is what you need to work on.
Yeah, time management is what you need.
I do want to touch a little bit on, since this is somewhat of a cannabis podcast, but you know, forever hip hop and cannabis have been linked, you know, for decades, and kind of, you know, a lot of it's cliche, you know, but how do you feel like what's your relationship with cannabis and music and your personal life and all that kind of stuff? Is it a big deal? Is it not? You know, what are you thinking?
Dude, it's so funny because like I've never been like at this age, I'm 40, and at this age, I am now more of a recreational smoker with friends than I ever was. Because for me, it was always like, even away from music, like it was a siloed thing for me. It was more like I like this my indica to go to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
I like, you know, this sativa to give me a kickstart without the edginess that comes with a Vyvanse or an Adderall. Like it was
Right.
like this very like it was a medical thing really. And now it has become more of a creative thing for me to a degree where like
Got it.
it can be before rehearsal. I do it a lot of the times with writing. I definitely like to smoke and write. And the funny part is like high me and sober me work together to like finish verses. Cause like
Yeah.
high me is like the idea man. And
Yes.
I'll say
Write them
some
down.
super super
Finish
out of
it
the box
later.
dope. Mm-hmm. Dude, that shit has like, and that's been the last 2 years for me that like that's part of my writing process now. But I really love it on rehearsal and I love it on stage because I just feel this, provided I smoke the right amount and don't overdo it. And I'm not going to take edibles or strictly for after performances and not before. But if I hit just that right amount, like there's this warmth and like letting it all go kind of feeling that is amazing because when you're performing, it's this weird thing because you have 500 people could hear you with what you're saying, and you have to be like, not say the dumbest shit, but you also have to not, you also can't overthink it. You can't overthink it and over telegraph it because then you're going to come off unsure
Yes.
or insincere. So you're like letting it fly and being like, I hope I don't fucking offend too many people.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
when I smoke, like that helps the process for sure. And but definitely I always did appreciate this about Curio with like the wellness aspect because I have the IBD, I have the anxiety, I
Yeah.
have the issue sleeping,
Yeah.
and just through a steady diet of the right things, like nothing has regulated me better than cannabis. Like no medication, no, it's fucking like if I could tell 16-year-old me that this is you're legitimately going to be using this to like
Right.
help you focus, help you heal, help you write, help you
Can you
sleep.
imagine?
I didn't really.
Like,
I thought it was a thing we did to rebel and to enjoy
same.
ourselves. And
Same.
yeah, dude, it's fucking wild. It's
That's
like science. The science is wild.
dude. Yeah, I mean that's literally why I'm in this industry. Is I you know, one day I woke up going, wait, is there something to this? Is it this can be medicine? You
Can't
know,
unsee it once you see it.
I saw it, changed my life, saw it with my best friend, and then I just wanted to learn as much as I could about it. And I'm here, you know, so
Yeah,
boy,
your story with your friend and like the football related stuff and everything. That's pretty cool. That's pretty
crazy.
cool.
Yeah. So, you know, if I wouldn't have seen that, you know, I don't know, I'd be a bank teller or whatever the fuck, you know, because music ate me up and spit
Music
me
shit.
out. And
That fuck yeah. It's a wild ass industry, man.
dude, it's insane.
Independent is the way, I think. I mean,
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah. Well, I got to tell you, man, God, we got to part two this because this was awesome. I appreciate your time. I appreciate who you are, what you do, your music, what you do for the community, the relationship that luckily I've got to have with you through working with Curio Wellness in Maryland. But I got to tell you, man, it's phenomenal. We need more people like you in this world. And where can people go? Where do you want people going to hear you and see you?
First of all, thank you. I feel the same way about you, man.
Yeah, dude.
I've been really lucky, like, to have kind of started working with Curio, and then, like, when you came on, like, not only was it seamless, but it was like we, elevated everything we were doing. And I also, with you guys and with Curio, the wellness aspect, that's what I have to preach to everyone. Like, the way you guys just have taken care of me and, like, helped me in the areas that I do need to heal when I describe the issues that I have. And the products, like, I can't say enough good things. Like, I really am super duper grateful for you guys. Like, Third Thursdays wouldn't have been what it is and what it's become without you. And we've really moved
Love it.
some mountains with that event. So
Yeah.
as far as finding me, MC Bravado everywhere. I always say, like, I'm not cool enough to be Champagne Poppy. It's simple branding, same name, same bad channel everywhere. Wherever you stream, download, watch. Chances are I have platform fatigue, so I'm probably there. So, but I still love you nonetheless.
Yes. That's right.
And I appreciate everybody who, consumes the art, and I hope that it does for you what it does for me. And yeah, I'm humbled and grateful, man. I can't thank you enough, dude. And I can't wait to continue to build and to keep working together. This has been humbling, and I'm very grateful, man.
Absolutely. Yeah. Ditto. I do want to say, like, especially for an old head like me, hearing like Robert Parrish and Wilt the Stilt in 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 songs, oh, just feels so good. I know another thing is sports are such a big part of what you talk about in your songs, and that is just the combination of sports and music it's hard to do, but when you do it right, it is just so smooth, dude. And that's what you're doing. So again,
Thank you.
brother, I appreciate you, man. And we'll have to part two this very soon.
I'm down, bro. Thank you so much again. I appreciate it.
My man, MC Bravado, everybody.
Big news from Kind Goods. Kind Goods Afton is officially open, giving St. Louis another convenient way to experience Kind Goods. Whether you're looking for flower, vapes, edibles, concentrates, or pre-rolls, you'll find a great selection and something for everyone. Not sure where to start? The friendly, knowledgeable bud tenders at Kind Goods can help you find what's right for you. It's the same great experience you've come to expect from Kind Goods, now in Afton, locally owned and operated. Kind Goods is proud to be part of the St. Louis community. 7 locations, 1 Kind Goods.
Are you ready to find your fire? New Daybreak Fortifiers infused pre-rolls are here. Made with whole flower, never shake, Fortifiers take the classic pre-roll to the next level. With 2 options to choose from, you can go with high terpenes for bold flavor or high potency for a stronger kick. Because sometimes you want more than a standard pre-roll. Find your fire with Daybreak Fortifiers. Available now at Kind Goods.